Hi everybody and welcome to Open Source Tonight. Let's take a look at Ubuntu 21.10. Okay everybody, this is Ubuntu 21.10 and the first thing I'm noticing in the corner here is the activities button up here in the corner. It looks different. It's got this rounded corner look to it. I don't really care too much for it, but you know, this is something that was changed in the GNOME desktop and you know, what are you gonna do? Another thing that's different is the workspaces. I actually like this change. I think it's actually a pretty good one. I like the difference in design and it looks like it's pretty easy, so you can just go like this and switch your desktops like that. So I could, for example, here we'll open up file browser here, file manager here, one moment while it loads, and then I can go to another virtual desktop and kind of switch back and forth. Now what I wonder is, can you actually add a third desktop? I don't really use this much, so okay, well, yeah, here we go. So that's okay. So I can switch, and for a second I thought I seen 3 pop up there. Weird. I'm pretty sure I seen 3 pop up there. It's crazy. Editor events, let me know for sure. On the bottom of the screen. But anyway, so we're in here and we can take a look around. This is, you know, a clean install, so there's really nothing here. Let's look at the applications. This is a minimal install. And so let's see what's in here. Or I think it's a minimal install, maybe not. I actually forgot, I've already installed it. But we got Cheese, LibreOffice, Firefox is in here. You know, pretty standard stuff. We got a calendar application. It doesn't really look like different. Let's look at the system utilization here. And it looks like that right now we are using, let me make this bigger so it's easier for everyone to see at home. Okay, yeah, we're not even using a gig of RAM right now at idle. That's pretty impressive. You know, I gotta say the performance is getting better when it comes to stuff like this, because Ubuntu, or sorry, I should say GNOME, used to use more resources than that GNOME 3, you know, just idling, at least for me. And that was including on Ubuntu. So looks like they've made some improvements in the last few years. That's nice. CPU usage, I've only got 1 core dedicated to this, and it's not even breaking a sweat sitting there. So it looks like the system is doing pretty good. Not using any swap. All right, so let's see here. Is there any application changes in here? One application change to make note of while I'm waiting for this to load on my slow internet is, I will say this, Firefox now ships as a snap package for those of you that would care about such things. So, you know, if you care about that, that's how they ship Firefox now. All right, here we go. Now it's finally opened the window up and it's downloading the software category and the ratings and all that. And we're gonna see here. I like the feedback that it's giving me here. And I do like the icons as well. Speaking of that, the icons in here look to be the same as before to me, but they do seem like, you know, pretty good icons. So let's say I wanted to install the GTK demo. Click install. Okay, I typed my password in and now it's installing it. So it seems like this process is basically identical to the way it is in 2104 if you're doing it from the Software Center. And you can select the source up here. So we've got deb packages for this application only, but in many cases there's a snap or a flatpak as well. Okay, so we're gonna let that go out. Let's see if I can go over to installed and let's see here. So it's giving me sources for this too. I don't know if that's a bug or if it's meant to be there. Huh, very interesting actually. So I mean, we've got a bunch of different things here. I do see we've got things like the snapd runtime. Does it actually let me remove this from here? Okay, it does not. So that right there, it does give you the little license pop up. Okay. All right, what about this? Okay, you can change the permissions of this from the looks of it. So, is the snap store part of this? Yeah, I think it must be. Okay, that was my understanding. And then, do we have a settings? Let's see here, about. Yeah, so this is, let's see, this looks like it's still based on GNOME software. It's very similar to GNOME software. And there you go. So it does seem like we've got some stuff in there. On the settings side, we've got some different changes in the settings. It's mostly the same, but there is a few differences. One difference you'll notice here is I have it set to the dark theme. The light theme is default now, which looks like this. But you can switch it back to the dark theme like that. Now, personally, I prefer the dark theme, so of course I'm going to be running it on the dark theme. You know, we can change the icon size here. So if you want to be able to see the icons better, you can make them bigger. You can make them, smaller or the default size right here. We can auto hide the dock. And I don't know why when I change some of these settings, things flicker in the GUI. So that's a weird thing. So we can come in here. I can move it to different parts of the screen. Now it does say auto hide, but I believe that's when something, yeah, it says if it overlaps. So if I do that, it will then hide. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Again, this is stuff that's, you should be familiar with if you've been using Ubuntu. Really nothing's different. Notifications and everything. This looks very much like a similar thing. And we can come in here and look. We are using Ubuntu 21.10 64-bit with GNOME 40.4. So I did see Linux's, what is it, Learn Linux TV or Linux TV, I forget the channel name, something like that. And in that video, the fellow there was talking about how that some people, including himself, would have liked to have seen the newest GNOME version, I believe it's 41, be shipped here. Personally, that's not a deal breaker for me, but it would have been cool to see as well. Why not? That being said, I'm not going to run this as a daily OS anyhow, and we are using Wayland here, so it is using Wayland. Another thing that's important about this is Wayland now is the default display server if you're using Xorg, or not Xorg, sorry, but NVIDIA, cards. So somebody like me that uses NVIDIA on some of their machines, that's going to be great. And Wayland's very wonderful. Now I will say this, talking about Ubuntu 21.10, what exactly is this OS for? Well, what it's for, plain and simple, is really for tinkerers and developers. I would not recommend this because it's not a long-term support release to any of you out there in the audience that does not want to play with this. And if you are going to play with it, I would do what I'm doing, which is, having it in a VM over there, and in a virtual machine, right? There's really no need to install it on physical hardware in my mind. And so, the only way I would really say you should have it on physical hardware at this point is if you're already on 21.04, which will end support here in a few months, and you need to upgrade to this, keep getting security patches. That being said, because it's not a long-term support release, it only gets, what is it? I think it's like 6-7 months of support. And so, you will want to wait. If you are on 20.04, which is the current long-term support release, you will be able to upgrade directly from it to Ubuntu 22.04, the next long-term support release that comes out next April. So anyway, everybody, I hope that you found this video interesting. It looks like that it's not that different of distribution. This is just my quick, overview of, my thoughts on it. Again, I feel like you shouldn't be upgrading to it unless, you're on 21.04. But if you are, then it probably makes sense. And it does seem like there's some interesting improvements, particularly those NVIDIA Wayland improvements I'm really excited to see come to us on the next long-term support release. So anyway, everybody, thanks for watching Open Source tonight. Goodbye, everybody. And action.